So if you've spent years, maybe even decades, mastering SEO, you've probably felt the ground shifting beneath your feet lately. You're not wrong. AI is fundamentally changing how we find information, and that means our strategies have got to change too. Today, we're going to dive into this big evolution from search engine optimization to something totally new, answer engine optimization, or AEO. Let's get right into it. All right, here's our game plan. First, we're going to meet the new AI gatekeepers of information. Then, we'll look at the big shift from SEO to AEO. After that, we'll break down the 4 pillars you need for a winning strategy, explore the new rules of the authority game, and finally, we'll talk about the huge payoff for getting this right. Okay, let's kick things off with a big challenge we're all facing. For years, we knew the drill, right? The path to discovery was simple. Rank on Google. Well, that's changing, and it's changing fast. The gatekeepers of information aren't just a list of blue links anymore. They're powerful AI models. I want you to really let this sink in. We're way past just talking about website traffic. AI is now actively building your brand's story, sometimes with your input and sometimes without it. It's deciding who gets seen and who gets ignored every single time a person asks a question. Your entire brand narrative is literally in its hands. And this isn't just some abstract problem for massive corporations. This is a real question that I'm getting, that you're probably getting. It's a question small business owners, freelancers, and marketers at every single level are trying to figure out right now. This is a huge universal shift in how we get discovered online. So that's the problem. It's a big one. So what on earth is the solution? Well, it requires a completely new strategy and a new way of thinking. Answer engine optimization. Now, to be super clear, AEO isn't the death of SEO, not at all. Think of it as the next chapter. It's the strategy for a world where the goal isn't just to be a link on a long list, but to actually be the source material inside the direct answer the user gets. So what's the real difference here? Let's break it down. Traditional SEO was a game of keywords. We were all chasing that #1 spot on a list of links. AEO, it's a totally different ballgame. The focus is now on answering complete questions and really owning entire topics. The goal isn't just to rank anymore, it's to get mentioned, to get cited, and ultimately to be chosen by the AI as the best, most definitive source. Okay, this is where the rubber meets the road. How do you actually do this stuff? Well, it all comes down to a really clear, actionable framework that's built on 4 essential pillars. This right here, this is your playbook for winning in the age of AI. So here they are: content, technical, authority, and measurement. It's that simple. First, you've got to create content that answers real questions your customers are asking. Second, you need to make sure your site is technically set up so an AI can actually make sense of it. Third, you have to build widespread authority and trust all across the web. And fourth, you have to start measuring what really matters now, how often you're mentioned, not just where you rank. Let's dive into that first pillar, content. This really means shifting your brain away from just broad keywords and towards answering specific, detailed questions. And you know what? The best place to find these questions is already inside your business. You got to listen to your sales calls, dig through those support tickets, and actually talk to your customers. And freshness is absolutely crucial. AIs love recently updated content. The goal here is to be specific, to be thorough, and to be the undeniable expert. All right, next up is the technical side. Now, the fundamentals, things like clean code and logical headlines, they're more important than ever. But the real secret weapon for AEO is something called schema markup. The best way to think of it is like adding subtitles to your website. It's this hidden context that you add to your code that explicitly tells an AI exactly what each piece of your content is all about, whether it's an FAQ, an article, or a product review. It's a game changer. This brings us to pillar number 3, and it might be the most misunderstood piece of the puzzle: authority. See, in the new world of AI, trust isn't just about who links to you. It's about who's talking about you, and just as important, where they're talking about you. So don't go throwing out your backlink strategy just yet. They absolutely still matter. They're a powerful signal. But you have to recognize that AI is now looking at a much, much wider range of signals to figure out who's really an authority on any given topic. So what are these new signals? Well, AIs are scanning for widespread positive mentions of your brand, even if there's no link. They're looking for your company's experts, showing up on podcasts, or publishing original research that gets talked about. And, this is a big one, they're paying close attention to real conversations happening on platforms like Reddit, Quora, and YouTube. Being a trusted, helpful voice in those communities is now a huge part of building authority. Okay, so we've covered the what and the how. Now for the really good part, the why. Why should you go through all this trouble to invest in answer engine optimization? Because honestly, the results can be absolutely transformative for your business. 6 times. That's the number. According to one analysis, traffic that comes to your site from an AI answer engine can convert at a rate 6 times higher than traffic from a traditional Google search. Think about why that is. A user showing up from an AI answer is incredibly qualified. They've already had this detailed conversation that pointed them directly to you as the solution. They're ready to go. But when it comes down to it, AEO is about so much more than just traffic and conversions. It's about taking back control of your brand's narrative in this new age of AI. It's about making sure that when someone asks a question that you can answer, your brand isn't just found, it's chosen. So I want to leave you with one final thought. In this new world of AI-generated answers, getting chosen is one thing. But the bigger question is, how will you ensure that your brand is the one that's providing the truth?